Om Gyanathimirantasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhupya Yevicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. I will start, Prabhu.
Okay, Mataji.
Yeah. So we are reading this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.11.23. Swayam cha guru bhi vipre sadare sthavirerapi ashir bhi yujjamano anyer vandibhisht cha vishad puram. So word by word translation. Swayam himself, cha also, guru bhi, by elderly relatives, vipraha, by the brahmanas, sadare, with their wives, sthavire, invalid, api, also, ashirbhihi, by the blessings of, yujyamana, being praised by, anya, by others, vandibhihi, admires, cha and avishat, entered, puram, the city. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Then the Lord personally entered the city accompanied by elderly relatives and invalid brahmanas, with their wives, all offering benedictions and singing the glories of the Lord. Others also praised the glories of the Lord. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The brahmanas in society were never attentive to banking money for future retired life. When they were old invalids, they used to approach the assembly of kings and simply by praising the glorious deeds performed by the kings along with their wives, they would be provided with all necessities of life. Such brahmanas were not, so to speak, flatterers of the king, but the kings were actually glorified by their activities, and they were sincerely still more encouraged in pious acts by such brahmanas in a dignified way. Lord Shri Krishna is worthy of all glories, and the praying brahmanas and others were glorified themselves by chanting the glories of the Lord. So it's a very small purport by Srila Prabhupada. And I would just mention one thing before I start, is that in the purport here, like earlier, previously, the kings used to be the Rajarshis. So here, the Brahmanas, they were like, it's not that they are flattering the king just to get some money, they are praising, right? It's not like that. But Brahmanas used to praise the devotees, the saintly devotees who were Raja Rishis, so that they were encouraged to do the pious deeds, and it was the genuine glorifications of the Rajashis. So that is why it's not that those Brahmanas were, flattering the king. So there is one thing I want to focus on that I liked actually, and that was the last part of the verse. The Brahmanas were singing the glories of the Lord. Others also praised the glories of the Lord. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Lord Shri Krishna is worthy of all glories, and the praying Brahmanas and others were glorified themselves by chanting the glories of the Lord. So I just thought that I will speak a little bit on the glories of the Lord. We all know about the glories of the Lord, but it is good to hear more and more. Right? So I was so first I was thinking that how should we do that. So there is a first question that all of us that can come up in our mind, that why these great sages are glorifying Krishna, like why Krishna needs to be glorified, why not other people, like there are so many other good other like if you look at nowadays world, like president or people who are doing humanitarian work, so why other people should not be glorified, why only um, Krishna needs to be glorified, right? So that can be that is one question, that why Krishna is glorified in his scriptures. Okay, now then the second question that will come is that okay, if I hear the glories of Krishna, or if I glorify Krishna, then what do I get out of it? Because whenever we do something, whatever activity we perform, we look for some incentive, right? It's like okay, if I praise my manager or someone, then I am thinking, okay, if I praise her, then uh, she will be, her behavior will be better with me, means my life will be more peaceful at work. So I have this natural incentive of glorifying my manager, right? So when we are glorifying Krishna, then what do we get out of it? Or why do I need to hear the glories of Krishna, right? Like what do I get by hearing the glories of Krishna? Because everything we do here in this material world, we have some incentive, we want to get something out of it, right? So those are the two questions I was thinking, that why the Krishna is glorified everywhere in the scriptures, and why do we need to hear the glories of Krishna, or why do we need to glorify Krishna, means what do we get out of it? So there is just if you look at it, there is just some missing link. So um, the missing link is how do we get the missing link? So before getting into the missing link, we need to see that what do we really want? Like, okay, I am praising my manager so that maybe I may get raise some money or some peace at work, so that she won't disturb me. But if you look, okay, so we are doing it for some benefit, there is some benefit for me, right? Then I need to think that like what do I really want? So if I start looking into it, okay, I need to have a house, and then I can start thinking that okay, I need to have a car, and I need to go to work to earn money, right? And then if we go deeper, like why do we want to have those things? The reason we want to have those things is because we want to have some loving relationship at our home, right? And if people they don't have the loving relationships, then like if they don't have like let's say husband, wife, or kids at home, then of course they get the pets, because that is what I want. I want to have someone to love at home, right? So let's look at the hierarchy. So first we were thinking what are our needs. So our basic needs are like, okay, I need to have some shelter, some house, and food, and a job, or means to travel somewhere. And then why do we need all those things? If we go deeper, then we want to have a house and job and all those things, so that I can maintain the people who are living with me, whom I love. So I want to have I want to have loving relationships with someone. So if we go deeper than that okay, why do I want to have loving relationships? Then the reason we want to have the loving relationships is because we want to have satisfaction of the heart, right? Because that is really all of us are uh, looking for. Generally what happens, our immediate needs, it gets covered by our immediate environment. Like if I hear that okay, my friend's son is going to Harvard, so I might also think, okay, my son has also capabilities to go to a good college, he's not studying enough. So let me ask him to study more so that he can go to college. So it's like a bher chal, okay, whatever other people are doing, that becomes our desire, right? That it becomes our real need. But if we go deeper than that, then we realize that those desires are because we want to have loving relationships. And if we want to go deeper than that, then it is okay, why do we want all these things on the earth? It is basically, we want the satisfaction of the heart. It's like a crying baby, right? So like I will give you one example. Me and my sister, we look very much alike. Our complexion is similar, and our looks are similar. Height is also pretty similar. So the small infants, the babies, they don't have proper vision. So the babies cannot see properly. They get very, like, okay, something blurry is there. So they may see, okay, similar complexion is there. So my sister's daughter, when she was young, very small, she would get confused that I'm her mom. She will come crying to me, and then she realized, no, I'm not her mom. Then she wants to go back to my sister. So the crying baby, no matter how many people try to hold him, but the crying baby gets satisfied only when he goes to the mother, right? So similarly, crying baby is looking for the satisfaction in that the baby gets from his mother only. Similarly, we are also looking for the satisfaction of our heart. So how do we get that satisfaction of our heart? We can there is and remember, we were talking about in the beginning that the glories of Krishna, like why do we need to hear the glories of Krishna, right? And why do all the sages glorify Krishna always? Like when I first time read Bhagavad Gita, very first time, I was reading Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. That time the consciousness was different. So I was thinking, why is he talking about Krishna, 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 Krishna everywhere, right? So why these acharyas, great devotees, they are glorifying Krishna only, and why the glories of Krishna is glorified in the scriptures, right? Then we go to that point that why what do we get out of, okay, acharyas are glorifying Krishna, but what do I get out of hearing the glories of Krishna? Or what do I get out of glorifying Krishna, right? And then from there we went to that if I'm looking, why do I want to glorify Krishna, then we need to go deeper, that what do I want? And then we were talking about the needs, and then what is the real need of the soul, right? That is the satisfaction of the heart. So now let's look at one scripture we all know that has nothing but glories of Krishna and glories of the devotees, and that we all know, it is Srimad Bhagavatam. So if we look into the appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam, then we may get the clue that why we do need to hear the glories of Krishna. So if we go back, then look at it and see Srila Vyasadeva. He's son of Parashar Muni, so he has great birth, very glorified birth actually. Vyasadeva has, Srila Vyasadeva has, and then he's a great sage, and not to forget, he's literary incarnation of Krishna. He's a great sage. He's completely beyond the moods of passion and ignorance. So we all know that once Srila Vyasadeva, when he was meditating by the uh, river Saraswati, Mother Saraswati, then he got the vision how the people will be in Kali Yuga. So he saw that, okay, people in Kali Yuga will be in completely, mostly they will be in mode of passion and ignorance. And the Vedas, the only people who are in mode of goodness, and in the purport I was reading, Srila Prabhupada was saying that spatial purified mode of goodness, only people who are in purified mode of goodness can understand the Vedas, because the topic of the Vedas is Krishna, and Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that only people who can understand him, who are beyond the modes of material nature, right? So Vedas cannot be understood by people who are in mode of ignorance. or passion. So Srila Vyasadeva, who is called Kripana Vatsala, so he's Kripana Vatsala means he's very merciful, compassionate to people like us. So because he thought, okay, these people, they won't be able to understand the Vedas, he divided the Vedas in four. And then he wrote the fifth Veda, which comes, where comes the Puranas, right? And when he compiled all those things for the people who are in Puranas and Mahabharata, right? And when he compiled all those things for the people like us in mode of passion and ignorance, he was still not satisfied in his heart, right? So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that this is what all of us should look for, should strive for, the satisfaction of the heart. So Srila Vyasadeva, after compiling everything, he's not feeling satisfied at the heart, so he starts contemplating. So now we need to see, he's a great sage, he's a he has great birth, he's completely beyond mode of passion and ignorance. Like here, when we are suffering because, mainly because we are in mode of passion and ignorance. Now imagine if someone is not mode of passion and ignorance, it's like it caused the kam lobha dayashet, right? It caused material desires, kam, lobha, greed. So if one is not uh, if one is not like under the claws of greed and karma, then of course his mind will be completely satisfied, right? And here we see Srila Vyasadeva, he is beyond the modes of material nature, but still he is not satisfied, right? And he's contemplating. And that is what Srila Prabhupada says in that purport of that verse, that everyone should go for the satisfaction of heart and think why they are not satisfied, right? So now if we see that why Srila Vyasadeva was not satisfied, and in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he gives us the hint that why Srila Vyasadeva was not satisfied, right? So he says, I will just summarize what he says in the purport. So he's saying in the purports that all the souls trapped in matter, like us, right? Um, we can all relate to what Srila Vyasadeva is going through, right? So Srila Vyasadeva is not satisfied. Similarly, all the souls trapped in the matter, right? They feel dissatisfied, lonely, and empty. And why do they feel that way? The reason they feel that way, because we are all separated from Krishna. We all alienated ourselves from Krishna. So the example can be given that just like a tree, if it is cut, the tree is cut from the root, okay, and the tree is holding on its own. So if tree is cut from the root, no matter how many ropes we put around the tree, it cannot hold the tree. So now we have cut ourselves from Krishna, we have alienated ourselves from Krishna, and because of that, we are feeling dissatisfaction. Okay, now no matter how many ropes we tie, like um, some of the ropes can be shopping. I know one of my friend, when she's like, uh, she's dissatisfied, she's hurt, she's feeling lonely, she goes to the mall, she says, okay, that gives me energy. So one rope can be shopping to intoxication. We all know, sometimes people are in so much distress, and they take to intoxication, that okay, for sometimes I'll forget about it, right? Sometimes people go and watch movies to numb their pain, to numb the loneliness that they feel, right? That can be other row. And then the second level comes, okay, I have tried doing those things, but still I don't feel satisfied. Maybe I should start doing some humanitarian work, like, okay, if I serve others, if I help others, then maybe I will feel satisfied in my heart, right? So I may start doing things like humanitarian work, or I want to mm, do it for my country. So I'm not selfish, I'm doing it for other people, right? I'm doing it for the other countrymen, or I'm doing it, I don't care even about the country, I'm equal to all the people, so I'm doing humanitarian work, right? That can be another ropes trying to hold the tree. But still, even one does all those things, still one is not satisfied, right? Now, why we are not satisfied by doing those things? The reason is because none of those things, it touches the heart, and it cannot negate the emptiness in the heart. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport. And it's not only Srila Prabhupada is saying, it is, we all can relate to it. We all can relate to it, that we don't feel satisfied by doing any of those things. Okay, I may go for shopping, I may watch a movie, I may do some good for others. For some time it's okay, but after some time again we start feeling that emptiness in our heart, right? So then the Srila Prabhupada says that no activity, even writing spiritual masterpieces, as Srila Vyasdev's example shows, can replace alienation with the lasting sense of completeness. Nothing short of devotedly serving and glorifying Krishna can deeply satisfy the soul. So we see nothing short of devotedly serving Krishna and glorifying Krishna can deeply satisfy the soul. So, and then when Srila Vyasadeva, he was meditating on that. Then Narad Muni, who is a spiritual master of Srila Vyasadeva, he enters the arena, and then he starts, then Narad Muni, sorry, Srila Vyasadeva asks Narad Muni, and then Narad Muni gives the answer that he says, Srila Narad Muni says, I will just summarize it in few words. Srila Narad Muni says that the description of the Supreme Personality, sorry, the description of the Supreme Lord's glories would awaken love for him. So in Srila Jiva Goswami, in his Preeti Sandarbha, he says that the only need for the soul is the Preeti, love for Krishna. How does that love uh, sprouts in our heart, manifest in our heart? Srila Narad Muni is saying, by hearing the glories of Krishna, the love for Krishna would awaken in the heart. So that is why uh, the glories of Krishna are glorified in the scriptures. And I was planning to read some verses from Srimad Bhagavatam describing the glories of Krishna, actually. So before we do that, there is one more thing, that no matter if someone is atheist, or someone is innocent but doesn't know Krishna, or we can say fertile to hear about Krishna. So general mass of people, so even atheist, general mass of people, and sadhaka, how does the glories of Krishna help for all of us? And for the atheist, it's like if we are trying to break the nut, right? So even so it's like, compare the nut like atheist. So we keep on hitting against a stone, but sometime it will open, right? So if the atheist, they keep on hearing the glories of Krishna many times, sometimes it may enter their heart. I would like to tell one example my spiritual master gave once he went for Harinam. Actually, he was talking to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada asked him, how was your Harinam? So Srila Gurudev said that it was good, but there was one lady who came in front of me and like closed her ears like that, and took her tongue out and started making sounds because she did not want to hear. So Srila Prabhupada said, what did you do? Then Srila Gurudev was thinking, what did I do? So Srila Prabhupada said, you should have taken the figures out of her ears and let the holy name enter in her ears. So when slowly the holy name enters the ears, then one gets the um, one's heart softens, right? And that is the case of atheist, right? And then for the sadhakas or general mass of people, there are many verses in Srimad Bhagavatam describing the glories of the Lord. uh, I will just speak some of those. And before I speak one of those, first, one of the verses we all know. Mm, we say it most of the times before before reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Which one is it? I have. Second. And then after that, it is Shravutam Swa Katha Krishna Purni Shravana Kirtana Hirdentastho hi abhadrani Vidhunuti Sruhut Sadam. Right? And so as we see, just by hearing the pious Krishna Purni Shravana Kirtana, Swakatha Krishna, right? Just by hearing the glories of Krishna, it purifies the heart. And it goes for all of us. It purifies the heart. And then why we should not glorify other people? Like there are so many other people, right, who do the good activities. So why we shouldn't glorify other people, right? That's okay, we can glorify other people. But in one of the verses, Srila Prabhupada mentions that it is 1.2.14, no. Yeah, 1.2.14. Srila Prabhupada mentions that in the purport, that sometimes the politicians, they are glorified before election, and then so that newspaper, magazines, suddenly they will glorify those people, and the people will become famous, and then they do that all to get the votes. But as we can see, Srila Prabhupada says that those glorifications of such people, it is neither good for the person who is being glorified, neither it is good for the person who is glorifying. Why? Because the effect is temporary. Okay, for some time it will cause some change, but the effect will be temporary of that. But it is Krishna, he says, because we all have this tendency to glorify, right? Like, okay, after movie we may talk, you see how well this person acted, how good that song is. So we all like glorifying others. We have this tendency to glorify others. So we should utilize that tendency to glorify Krishna. Why we should utilize that tendency to glorify Krishna, we already talked. Because it purifies our heart, it gives us the satisfaction of the heart, and not only that, it gives us love for Krishna, right? So Srila Prabhupada says that we have broadly discussed this fact from the beginning of Janmadasya Asya shloka of this Bhagavatam. The tendency to glorify others or hear others must be turned to the real object of glorification, the Supreme Being. And why? Srila Prabhupada answers that. And that will bring the happiness. That will bring the real happiness, not glorifying others, right? So now we can look at some of the verses. uh, One is sa shraddha dhanasya vivardhamana virakti manyatra karoti pumsa harer padanusmriti nirvritasya samast dukkha shudhate. So one who faithfully hears, right, the glories of Krishna, then what happens? Viraktim anyatra karoti punsa. One gets detachment from other things. And then what happens in result? So this is, it's like, okay, I'm let's say I'm in the ocean, and someone comes and takes me out of the ocean, and then I wear the nice clean clothes and dry myself, and the other person puts me in a room separately, right? Okay, so it's I am the miseries are removed, virakti, we get the detachment. Then that is not enough, right? We are looking all for happiness. We cannot just sit idle. So what does it do? The glories of Krishna, by hearing the glories of Krishna, we get detachment from other things, right? And what other thing is happening? Hare padano smriti nivritasya, means by remembering Krishna's lotus feet, because when we hear the glories of Krishna, next thing naturally comes, we remember him, right? And by that smriti, by the remembrance of Krishna, what happens? One attains the transcendental bliss, nirvritasya. And samasta dukkapya yama shuddhate. All the all the miseries are removed, right? That is one verse that is describing. The next one is Panina te dev katha sudhaya pravradhi bhaktya vishidase shayaye वैराग्य सारं प्रतिलभ्य बोधं यथाञ्जिसा अन्वयूरकुण्ठधिष्यम्. So here it is say Panina te dev katha sudhaya. Just by hearing the nectar of glories of Krishna, katha sudhaya, right? Pravadha bhaktya vishidashyaye. People who are seriously doing it, their devotional service increases. And then what happens? Vairagyasaram pratilabhya bodham. Vairagyasaram. One gets the saram, like essence of vairagya. I really like that word. Vairagyasaram pratilabhya bodham. And one gets the intelligence, the knowledge. So, it's not like we have to do anything separate. I need to get detached from this thing. Just by hearing about Krishna, Panina te deva katha sudhaya, just by hearing the nectorious pastimes of Krishna, one naturally gets detached. Vairagi saram pratilabhya bodham, one gets the knowledge also. And then at the end, one very soon attains Vaikuntha, the spiritual sky. So, before I go to the next verse, I just wanted to discuss a little bit on Vairagya Saram Pratilabhya Bodham and the example of from our scriptures of that. So, we all know that that pastime, that those Yagic Brahmanas in 10th canto, those Yagic Brahmanas who were performing the Vedic sacrifices, right? So the reason they were performing the Vedic sacrifices because of elevation towards the heavenly planets, right? They're following Vedas, right? So now this example goes to the same thing where Srila Vyasadeva is feeling dissatisfaction after writing Vedas and the Puranas also, and Mahabharata also. He's feeling dissatisfaction, right? So, uh, why is he feeling dissatisfaction? And the comparison between the Vedic studies and the glories of Krishna. So, in this example of these Yagic Brahmanas, right, we will see that. So, these Yagic Brahmanas, they were performing the sacrifice for elevation to the heavenly planets, and Krishna, he sends his friends to ask for food from these Yagic Brahmanas. So when the cowherd boys go to the Brahmanas, now these Brahmanas, see, their desire was to elevation to the heavenly planets, right? Uh, they were not doing it for Krishna, right? So when they do not have regard, respect, and love for Krishna, how can they have love, regard, and respect for his devotees? So when these devotees, these boys, the cowherd boys, when they came to the Yagic Brahmanas, they said no. Not only they said no, they disrespected the cowherd boys, and they also said, Krishna is he's a cowherd boy. He should not take prasadam until unless we have eaten it. because we are the Brahmanas, right? So then these cowherd boys, they go back to Krishna, and Krishna says nothing. He just smiles, and he asks them to go back to uh, Brahmana's wife. And those cowherd boys were like, really? Means, do you know what you're talking about? We just went to the Brahmanas, and they said no. Why the wives of Brahmanas would give us the food? So Krishna says that because they are also devotee of me, just like you are devotee of me. So then the cowherd boys understood, and they go to the Brahmana's wife. Now, it is mentioned in the scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, the Brahmana's wives were sitting on the sacrificial arena, and they were wearing all the golden jewelry and beautiful clothes, and they were glowing. The part that I really liked was they were glowing with detachment due to intense attachment towards Krishna. So they were glowing due to their, because of the they were glowing with the detachment due to their intense attachment towards Krishna. Vairagyasaram pratilabhya bodham. Vairagyasaram. This is the Vairagyasaram. This is the essence of detachment, being attached to Krishna. Right? So the moment the wives of the Brahmanas, the moment they see the cowherd boys, they recognize them. They thought, okay, they must be friends of Krishna. When they are here, that means Krishna is also nearby, right? And they immediately approach the Brahmana boys, and then we all know the pastime. The Brahmana boys ask for food, and then they take the food the to Krishna themselves, right? So now, how did the wives of Brahmanas became devotees, such devotees of Krishna? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the reason they became devotees of Krishna because of hearing the glories of Krishna. How did they hear the glories of Krishna? They hear the glories of Krishna from the cow, from shopping. How? From shopping? Because when they would go to shop for milk products or something else, the cowherd men, they would come, and they would do not, they would just since Krishna is their heart and soul, all they speak about is Krishna. So they would speak the glories of Krishna, and by hearing the glories of Krishna, they got attached to Krishna. And they used to hear the glories of Krishna, who would visit their town, like the sadhus, the sages. So the reason they got so attached, attracted towards Krishna, is by hearing the glories of Krishna. And so here we can see the difference, the Yogic Brahmanas, right, who were attached to the heavenly planets, they had no attraction for Krishna. And here the Brahmanas' wives, who heard the glories of Krishna, that they were so attracted, they developed love for Krishna, right? So that is the Vairagya Saram. And how do we get it by hearing the glories of Krishna. We don't have to do anything else. We don't have to do anything separate other than hearing the glories of Krishna. And now there is one more thing that came to, there is another verse, aho bakiyam, right? So what happens when a sadhaka, right, like a sadhaka, like we are trying to become devotees, right? So when we start hearing these beautiful narrations of Krishna, right, then we think, what are we, seriously, means what are we doing here? So this verse is I'm sorry, just give me this verse. Aho bakiyam stankalikutam जिघांसयाप्ययादपि असाध्वी लेभे गतिं धात्री उचितं ततोऽन्यं कं वा दयालुं sharanam vrajema. So it is Uddhava, Sri Uddhava, he's talking to Vidura, and he's saying that how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of a mother to a she demon, Putana? And why she came in, she was unfaithful in the sense that although she came as a in the form of a mother, that okay, I want to give her my milk to him because I am having so much motherly love. She came, but internally, what was her intention? She put the poison. She wanted to kill Krishna. Although her thoughts were that she was unfaithful, means there are some people who are on your face they are bad, right? But there are other people on the face they are very nice but bad from inside, means how upset we get with them, right? But here Putana is same, like she's something else from outside, and inside she is holding different intentions to kill Krishna. Of course no one can kill Krishna, but she was holding that intention. So even then Krishna, he gave her the position of a nurse or a position of mother in spiritual planet, right? Goloka Vrindavan. So means then how should then naturally, like if you look at it, then here in this material world, right, we have given up Krishna. Jivera Sarupa Nitya Krishna Das, we are servant of Krishna, right? But we have given up our real master. Now we have come here, now we have so many masters here, so many masters. The envy, anger, greed, calm, lobh, matsarya, illusion, and you name it. Like my manager at work, we are serving so many people here, but we are serving so many people, but the issue is, the problem is that even though we are serving them continuously, neither they are satisfied nor we are satisfied. Means what to speak of satisfaction? If we really sometimes we deeply think about it, our heart burns when we try to follow these masters. We think we are getting satisfaction, but it is burning the heart, like Raghunath Das Goswami says, it's like donkey's urine. Although it is falling on our head, it looks like, oh, it's nice water. No, donkey's urine, it burns us. So similarly, when we serve these masters, it burns our heart, right? So when we hear such things, that how merciful Krishna is, there is just one example I wanted to give on that. um, I just heard it somewhere, that there was one guy who was driving in his car, and then he saw some people eating grass. So he stopped the car, he went to those people and he said, "Why are you guys eating grass?" So they said, "We don't have anything to eat. That's why we are eating grass." So he said, "No problem, you come with me to our home." So they become very happy. Okay, finally we will get some food. So they said, "Our family members also don't have anything to eat." So he said, "Okay, bring them in also." So they stopped by, they got their family members also. And when they reached that guy's home, he said, "See, we have so much grass here, so you all can eat. I also have a lot of grass." So this is a condition of this material world. It means they exploit us, right? And that's why we don't want to serve. If someone says serve, like, oh, really? Means I don't want to serve anyone. But in one of the purpose, Srila Prabhupada says that the service, um, the relationship between Krishna and his servant is very sweet, very intimate. It's not like what we see over here. So there is just one more small thing, and then I will end. Um, that another glory of Krishna, that part I really like. So I would just say it again. It's when Kubja how Kubja got attracted towards Krishna. So we all know that pastime that Krishna was walking over the streets of Mathura and Kubja came, right? So when Kubja came, she immediately, surrendered everything to Krishna. I mean, she was not even fearful. Means you can see hearing glories of Krishna, it makes us fearless also. Kubja was not even fearful because she was carrying the property of Kamsa. If she gives that to Krishna, then of course she can be put to jail or put to death by Kamsa by giving away the property of the king, right? So how Kubja got attracted towards Krishna? It is described in Srimad Bhagavatam that there are 6 qualities that attracted Kubja. And one is his beauty. We all know Krishna is the source of all beauty, right? So he's most beautiful. Second, she was attracted to Krishna's smile. So we know in our Gaudiya Vaishnava scriptures, the smile of Krishna is glorified everywhere, right? And there is means I did not plan for reading it, so I don't have the exact words, but the gopis, they say that Krishna, you remove all the fears from the heart of the Brijvasis. No, sorry, you remove, yeah, fear, and also you are known to remove, for removing the pride from your devotees. And for us, women like us, you remove our pride just by smile, by your smile. So I was thinking that when I used to watch movies, there are some people whose smile was really nice, like Manisha Koirala, Madhuri Dixit. Now we can imagine how beautiful Krishna's smile would be. That the gopis are saying, these gopis are the most beautiful women on the earth or anywhere. They are saying that you destroy our pride just by your smile, right? And the third thing, she gave everything to Krishna, was because Krishna is so sweet, madhuram, that prayer from Sri Vallabhacharya, we all know that Madhurashtakam, right? Adinam Madhuram, Gamanam Madhuram, right? Hasitam Madhuram, Nayanam Madhuram, Hridayam Madhuram, Madhuradirpate Akhilam Madhuram, means everything is sweet about the Lord of sweetness. And the other thing, Kubja gave everything up was because of the looks of Krishna. With the love Krishna looked at Kubja, Kubja decided to, okay, I will not serve anyone else other than Krishna. With the love, it means here when we work or we do anything, where do we get those loving looks that we think, okay, I will serve only that person, I will not serve anyone else. So this is the Kubja was especially what should I say, uh, fortunate, because she got attracted to Krishna by his personal presence, right? But there is no difference between Krishna's personal presence and the glories of Krishna. Those are non-different. So we can see when we hear the glories of Krishna, we naturally become detached from other things. And then we get attachment towards Krishna. We want to go to him. And it's not that it's like a false attachment, false attraction, that once we go there, like the politicians here, they give us the false promises, right? If you make me president, I will give you this, this, this. But when they become president, we get nothing. But we know that when one attains love for Krishna, means those feelings cannot be expressed by words or anything. It just has to be experienced by the devotees. So these are the glories of Krishna, and that's why we glorify Krishna. So I would end here, and if there are any discussions, So thank you so much for bearing with me and listening to me.
Haribol Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you so
Mataji.
very much. Thank you so very much for nicely making, our connection with Krishna on early Sunday morning. I really just, liked how I joined a little late, like at 7:08, and that's where you were talking about how we all have these basic needs, and then how you connected that, just from our basic need of like our physiological needs to how our deepest need is this Krishna connection, because in our day-to-day lives, we forget. So it was really, I found it very helpful to hear that and reminded that our core need, for existence is this Krishna connection. And I appreciated how you made the connection for us. Um, and I wanted this, I've never heard this verse that you quoted, the Vairagya Saram. So I was wondering if you can share the reference and the verse with us. I would like to read, just the verse again. I became really attracted to the way you were describing it. So I want to read a little further.
Oh, sure,
So
Mataji. Definitely, I'll
yeah.
share with you. Yeah, I love that verse.
So it was really nice. I've never heard it before, actually. I've never come across it. So if you can kindly share, I want to read the purport and yeah.
Yes, Mataji. It is 3.5.46, Mataji.
3546. Okay, I'll make a note of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, Mataji, we get, disconnected during our day-to-day activities. So, but
Yes.
uh, there is earlier, like I would be like, okay, in the morning, I do sadhana and then very nice, feel very nice, and then the work starts, right? So it all goes down. And then by the end, it seems like, okay, I made a journey to another planet and came back, right? Forgot everything. So, but the thing later I started doing was I started either hearing lecture at the lunchtime or memorizing the verses. That kind of helped me to connect a little bit, but still when I go to work, I take another train, right? So, yes, Mataji.
Yes. Thank
Thank you.
you.
So if there are no other comments, discussions, Prabhu, can we uh, close it?
Jayant Prabhu, you're saying something? I think you unmuted.
Yeah. So, thank you very much. Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful speech, madam. Very motivational. For especially like the way you explained. How satisfaction can be brought in by always thinking about the glories of Krishna. The more you emphasize, it just sinks in more into our brains. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation.
Thank you, Prabhu. The glories of Krishna are so glorious that everyone gets attracted, right? So, yeah.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. It was nice. Beautiful class. So I was, remembering when you reminded about that prayer. I was thinking where I heard this sloka. Buddha was talking to Vidura
Oh,
because Maharaj was keep talking about that verse. So I heard this verse many places. I could not recollect. So anyway, when you explained, I got the meaning. So when you explained the meaning, I remember. So it was very, yeah, how glorious is the Lord. So yesterday I was hearing something else. The Lord takes, the action of Putana, but the
yeah.
intention was wrong. Right? So he ignored the intention and he took the action. So whatever she did, Lord, that the other way also. If the intention is right, the action is wrong, so that he accepts that intention and he forgets the action.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Like if I look at it when I do the deity worship, I don't have right intention many times, right? But still he takes the service. Yeah. So for us also, I think he's doing the same, but sometimes we don't see it. Means he's just taking our service, not our consciousness at that time. And as you said, if our consciousness is right, then he takes the consciousness,
Mhm.
not the action. Yes, Prabhu.
Where we will be that, we were talking about the master or something yesterday, some exchanging some messages. Where we will find the master, this kind of masters. The boss.
Yes, Prabhu. Where will we find such master? This is one of the verses when hearing that verse, Srila Shukadev Goswami got attracted uh, towards Krishna. And he came back to Srila Vyasadeva to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Aho Bakiyam, this one.
Yeah. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, would you end the meeting or should I end it?
Sure, Mataji. Yeah, I can.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you so much.